I am here, however, specifically to speak about Senate Bill 1815, which is titled the Ocean County Stormwater Management System Demonstration Act. I am the senior member of the Ocean County Board of Chosen Freeholders, and I would prefer really not to have to be here today, but it's my duty to be here to respond to some of the things in this, quote, demonstration act. Incredibly, no input has been asked from the Board of Chosen Freeholders with regard to this bill. No input whatsoever at all. In fact, Senator Smith, that is not incorrect. In fact, Senator Smith,
your business administrator and your county engineer, they indicated the Ocean County Board of Freeholders wanted no part.
I do believe, sir, that meeting took place in the last session of the legislature, and this is a new bill, 1815, which is not the one that was discussed before. You have never communicated directly with the Board of Freeholders. In fact, on January of this year, I wrote you a letter inviting you to meet with us, and you have so far ignored that. So let the facts remain what they are.
We're not here to be adversarial to the Ocean County Board of Freeholders. We think you have a tough job. We also think you have the second worst bay in America in terms of beautification. To help clean up the base. We don't want to be adversarial to you. We want to be working with you to clean up our base.
Well, I'm glad you have adopted the proper terminology with regard to today, because you did call it the second worst polluted bay in the United States, and I would remind you that there is not one bay beach in Ocean County from Memorial Day to this point in time that has been closed due to pollution. It is rather essentially, this bill labels Ocean County, quote, a convenient laboratory, and authorizes Ocean County to test pilot a countywide stormwater management utility as a demonstration project, so that the state could judge the statewide feasibility of such an activity. Astonishingly, not one dime of state support is proposed to support such a utility. Instead, this utility, the Ocean County Board of Freeholders, is empowered to create such a utility that would have the power to collect fees and other charges on the owners or occupants, or both, of any real property in Ocean County. And to add insult to injury, you then want to take 5% of that take for yourselves back to Trenton. I think this is kind of an incredible way to do business.
I'm up here to say I support the bill, but now, listening to Ocean County, maybe we need to set up a Barnegat Bay Commission similar to what we've done in Lake George and other places, because if the government of the area that's in charge with giving resources and protecting this bay doesn't want to do it, we may have to look at another construct. And the reason I say that is, quite frankly, this bay is going to die. And we all know that. And that's why we're here today, between sea nettles and nitrogen in the bay and so many other things. We need to do these retrofits. Without it, this bay is going to die.
Is deal with, number one, the composition of the fertilizer itself that runs off the bay, whether through soil water or through leaching. Phosphorus is going to be prohibited, period. I congratulate the industry who's doing a lot of that around the country now, recognizing the problem. You should be proud of yourselves, and we are of you. We have, right now, the bill sits with a 30% slow release component of nitrogen to go into the fertilizer use, and there's also a limit per 1,000 square feet, I guess, currently at 0.75 pounds. And that's one component of the bill. Another component of it is, how it gets applied. We've reached, and it'll be up to the members of the legislature to vote today. But Senator Smith, the sponsor, and I reached what we think is a real good compromise on 10 feet from water if it's applied, kind of where it's spread out, and we're applying fertilizer, or 5 feet from any water body if it's done with a pointed type of application. We've allowed municipalities, as part of the compromise, to go as high as 25 feet to 10 feet. We want to do that on a local basis. And as much as we want to get continuity, that was something that was acceptable to everyone. The other component is when you can put fertilizer out. We know it shouldn't go out and won't when the ground is frozen. We know it shouldn't happen and won't when there's heavy rains. We're dealing with the dates right now as far as we're going forward with today's purposes. We're dealing with March 1st and November 15th as the window within which you can continue to apply fertilizer. I know many in the application industry wish that November 15th date was kicked a little further. We hear what you have to say, continue to take it under consideration, but for today, that's where we're at. And I think that's the major components.
Summarize here is fertilizers do contribute. I'm not a scientist, but I do read, we have the internet and provide information on this that will substantiate this. But the point is we need to change the composition of what's going into our waterways, and any regulations that can save the Barnegat Bay, our rivers, or any other waterway in New Jersey is necessary and should be looked at. And you're right, Senator, this is only the beginning, and I'm sure this will be addressed in later meetings. But again, when we get to the end of the tunnel and we see the light should be public policy and public health first. Thank you.
I have a question from the panel regarding this fertilizer bill. Just talk to me first, the concern about neighboring states and what they are doing compared to what we would be doing.
Well, the concern is that we're ahead of those other states and we're not sure what they're going to do. And so
put a note on there saying
if there's an imbalance between what we do and they do, they're going to impact us. Will impact their waterways in terms of regulating fertilizers, in terms of product availability. If we're not having the same products in New Jersey as those in Pennsylvania or New York, there's obviously going to be a conflict.
Do you see a problem with the dates of application for the fertilizer use going past November 15th?
As a general rule, no, but other than these exceptions that we just discussed, where you have damage and you get something repaired. As a general rule, that November 15th will work well economically and is consistent with the environment. And all we're trying to point out that there will be some notable exceptions, and there is good justification for using fertilizer on that limited basis. We're not recommending that everybody across the board be able to apply fertilizer beyond the 15th of November. It's just some specific situations.
There'll be continued meetings. We'll be working with our leadership as it relates to further tweaking based on some of the things people will say today. And then, of course, hopefully getting to the governor's desk in the early fall. So again, understand that today isn't the be-all and end-all.
I'm very encouraged because I have the unpleasant experience of going to talk meetings. And now here we're talking, but we're closest to acting, and that is a wonderful thing.